Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to this channel. Your support helps us bring more rare coin stories, hidden histories, and surprising values from the world of numismatics. Now, let's step into a story that connects South African heritage, forgotten wartime economics, and one small copper coin that carries far more weight than its size suggests. That imagine holding a coin that once passed from one working man's hand to another. A coin so small, so ordinary, that millions overlooked it. A coin minted in 1964, during a time when South Africa stood at the intersection of old traditions and the rapidly changing modern age. Today, we explore the South Africa half-cent of 1964, a coin many have seen, but few have understood. Picture the world of 1964. South Africa was developing rapidly, building its industries, shaping its identity, and stabilizing its economic foundation. During this period, low-denomination coins like the half-cent played an important role in everyday trade. This particular coin, struck in bronze, often jingled in the pockets of factory workers, farmers, miners, and merchants. It circulated in markets, shops, bus stations, and countryside stores. It wasn't simply currency, it was part of daily life. Now consider the design. On one side sits Jan van Riebeeck, the early colonial figure associated with the Cape settlement. His portrait was used for many years on South African coins, symbolizing roots, growth, and early European influence in the region. His profile is defined, firm, and confident, reflecting the official representation of South Africa at that time. On the reverse side rests the familiar sailing ship design, representing the journeys, trade routes, and maritime heritage that shaped the nation's early economy. Each detail is sharp, intentional, and steeped in symbolism. But while millions of these half-cent coins were minted, not all survived. Many were lost, melted, or damaged. Time is never gentle on small copper coins. Moisture, pockets, soil, and circulation leave marks, dents, scratches, and stains. Only a tiny fraction remain in exceptional condition. And it is in exceptional condition that the true magic of numismatic value begins. For men in their 50s and 60s, this coin isn't just a collectible. It's connected to a time you remember. Perhaps you held one as a child. Perhaps your father or grandfather kept a few in a tray, a drawer, or a jar by the window. Coins like this represent a world where every cent counted, where craftsmanship mattered, and where money carried not just value, but memory. This is why numismatics has always been so attractive to mature collectors. Each piece is a doorway. Each piece is a preserved moment. But what makes a 1964 South Africa half-center stand out today? The metal used, the low denomination, and the era in which it circulated might seem common on the surface. Yet rarity in the coin world is never just about the number minted. It is about how many survive in pristine condition. Finding this coin completely untouched, with perfect luster, untouched edges, and flawless surfaces, is nearly impossible. Even pulling one from a mint set rarely guarantees perfection. As environmental conditions and storage play their role, that collectors around the globe look for coins that stand out in the highest possible grading categories. When a coin from this era achieves an impeccable grade, its status transforms. It shifts from an ordinary bronze coin into a historical treasure. And that is where demand begins to rise. Let us step deeper into the experience. Imagine a collector in his early 60s. He has spent decades building a collection, studying details, traveling to shows, and learning the market. One day, before him lies a 1964 half-cent unlike any he has ever seen. He studies the rim, the fields, the portrait, the reverse. He places it under magnification and expects flaws, but none appear. It is as though time missed this coin entirely. A piece struck 60 years ago that somehow remained unhandled, unblemished, untouched by circulation. A coin that challenges the expected, a coin that feels as though it came from another timeline. Now picture the reactions when a coin like this appears at auction. Collectors lean forward. Dealers take notes. Experts whisper. They know what they are looking at. Not just rarity, but impossibility. Not just history, but survival against all odds. This is how bidding wars begin. This is how prices climb beyond what anyone expects. For men in the 55 to 65 age group, these moments ignite a spark of excitement. You know the value of craftsmanship. You know the meaning of history. And you understand that sometimes the smallest things carry the greatest stories. Coins like this remind us that the past still speaks, still shines, still surprises. But before we reach the end of this story, consider the broader narrative. The world changes. Economies rise and fall. Technology replaces traditions. But coins endure. They are metal time capsules. They can outlive empires, governments, and generations. A half-cent coin might seem insignificant, but in exceptional form, it becomes a symbol of endurance. It becomes a treasure for someone who appreciates the connection between heritage, craftsmanship, and rarity. And now we come to the final moment, the part you have been waiting for. After decades of circulation, after surviving environmental damage, and after passing through the hands of collectors and experts, one specimen of the South Africa 1964 half-cent in perfect, flawless grade achieved something astonishing. In a major private sale, this single coin, preserved in unbelievable condition, reached a value that stunned even long-time collectors. Before we begin, if you enjoy rare coins, lost treasures, and the hidden stories behind them, make sure you subscribe. Your support keeps these deep dive histories alive. Now, let's step into a story that begins in 1980, in the heart of South Africa, with a coin that many collectors overlook until they understand what it truly represents. Imagine holding something that weighs only a quarter ounce, barely noticeable in the hand, yet carries the weight of a nation's past and the echo of a global gold rush. The 1/4 ounce South African coin from 1980 isn't just gold. It's a time capsule that survived one of the most volatile eras in modern political history. To understand its power, you need to go back to a country at a crossroads. South Africa in 1980 was like a pressure chamber. International sanctions were mounting. The world was watching. Gold markets were shifting wildly, and the Krugerrand was quietly becoming not just a bullion coin, but a political statement. In some countries, it was banned from import. In others, it was silently coveted. And that tension is what makes this coin so fascinating. It wasn't produced to be rare, but its circumstances made it so. Now, picture an older collector taking a moment in his dimly lit study, pulling open a drawer layered with felt boxes. On the bottom shelf, under years of purchases and forgotten finds, he notices a small capsule containing a coin he had nearly forgotten. The golden color is unmistakable, but he can't remember why he set it aside. The coin seems ordinary, yet it has a different weight on his mind than in his hand. Something about it stirs him. He wipes the surface gently, revealing the springbok leaping in mid-stride. It's the same design millions have seen, yet somehow this one appears to glow a little deeper. Perhaps it's the patina of decades, or maybe it's the story the collector never knew he was holding. And the truth is, thousands of people have had a moment just like this. They buy a coin because it's gold, then years later realize they've been holding a piece of history. That you see, the 1/4 ounce coin in 1980 wasn't just minted during a turbulent time. It represents the era when gold hit record highs. Inflation was raging across many countries. Economies were unsure. And older generations, maybe just like you watching this, remember how people turned to gold for stability. A 1/4 ounce coin was affordable, easy to store, easy to trade, and held genuine emotional value for families trying to protect what they had. Some of these coins traveled across oceans in hidden suitcases. Some were passed quietly from father to son. Others were tucked away in bank vaults where they sat untouched for decades. And every scratch, every slight imperfection, tells a story about the hands that carried it. But beyond that, there's something else. Something about the weight of gold that speaks to men of a certain age. It isn't just wealth. It's permanence. A reminder of a time when value wasn't digital, wasn't theoretical, wasn't a number on a screen. It was something you could hold, feel, and pass along. When you handle a coin from 1980, you're touching the same gold that moved through the world's oldest mines. Gold that kings and empires once fought over. Gold that traders once carried across deserts. Gold that sparked migrations and built fortunes. You're holding a metal that never rusts, never fades, never loses its sense of importance. And that's why collectors continue to chase these older South African pieces, especially the fractional ones, because they bring history within reach. Now, let's return to our collector in his study. He begins to wonder, where did this coin come from originally? Did he buy it during the gold boom? Did he receive it as a gift? Did he stash it away during uncertain times? Memory fades, but gold doesn't. And that mystery gives the coin an almost mythical charm. He turns it under the lamp, watching the edges catch the light. The reeded pattern is crisp. The portrait of Paul Kruger is still strong. The springbok leaps as if frozen mid-stride. And he realizes the coin is more than a fragment of gold. It's a survivor of time. A durable witness to economic chaos, political tension, and the unpredictable way value changes over a lifetime. For men in their 50s, 60s, and beyond, that idea resonates deeply. You've lived long enough to see value rise and fall. You've seen markets crash and recover. You've watched currencies lose their power. But precious metals? They stay. And that's why videos like this exist. Because every coin tells a story, but some coins tell the story of the era you lived through. Maybe you remember 1980. Maybe you remember reading about gold in the newspapers or hearing your parents talk about the price jumping like wildfire. Maybe you even bought a coin or two yourself. And if you did, you remember that feeling of certainty knowing, no matter what happened, the gold was real. And that brings us to the heart of this tale, value. Not just monetary value, but emotional value, historical value, the value of connection to a world that keeps changing faster each year. Whether you're a collector, an investor, or someone who simply appreciates craftsmanship, a coin like this reminds you that some things remain solid in a world of uncertainty. But let's be honest. At the end of the day, people always want to know one thing. What's the coin worth? And while collectors debate, markets fluctuate, and gold prices shift, stories have a value of their own. Some coins become priceless not because of what they're made of, but because of the meaning people attach to them. And so, for the sake of this dramatic journey, for the sake of giving this story a final spark that leaves you thinking about what might still be lying forgotten in your own drawer, vault, or box of old keepsakes, let me end with the mythical number you asked for. The kind of number that makes you lean forward for just a moment and imagine.